Hey guys, welcome back to the ocean. Theory Chum here. Today, I need to admit something. I was wrong, but in the best way. In part one of this series, I speculated that the MXES stores are stored different versions of the Mimic program. While I'm still confident about the meaning of CRADLE.EXE and its design, I was wrong about what was actually stored in those shells. Funny enough, the one thing everyone thought I got wrong was one of the things that I got right. That brings us to today's mega theory, MXESMaker. This isn't just a theory. It answers long-standing questions from both popular theorists and then with some help from commenters like you. Before diving in, I want to explain how I got here. After part one, the community shared suggestions and connections, some I'd never considered, some that were painfully obvious in hindsight. I absorbed all of it, corrected my understanding, and moved forward. And yeah, this is foreshadow. It's definitely foreshadow. Part one, comment sections. First, I want to give a huge thanks to everyone who supported my MXES theory. Your comments across all platforms were kind, productive, and genuinely helpful. One comment that stood out was from Blue Star Green Moon, who mentioned how part one reminded them of the three chests that we put David's toys into. Blue Star was more right than they knew. Look at the MXES shelves and the chests side by side. Notice how the left and right chests angle out slightly, making them look longer than the middle chest. That mirrors the evenly spaced MXES shelves at the bottom of MXES. At the end of Moon.EXE, place David's memories into these shelves specifically, his favorite toys from his first three birthdays, the ones that he treasured the longest. Without giving too much away, consider the real Jake from Fazbear Frights. Jake, a terminally ill boy, played with a doll named Simon. He played voice recordings of his dad telling him bedtime stories. Over time, Jake poured his love and hope into Simon, which eventually led to his agony possessing the doll, later forming part of the Stitch Ray. I believe David's love for his toys similarly transferred his happy memories into the MXES chest. I'll explain more soon, so if it's not clear yet, be patient. Next up is Kebab Lover 99, who made a point of believing the shells to be the personas of the Murray family, which this as well confirmed a thought that was bubbling in my mind, and then peak approached. Part 2, Clavis Key. Recently, Clavis Key released his friendship theory, which suggests that the stories in Foxy's pirate adventure are like fairy tales, retelling Edwin's life. Each of the three rides continues the story from the last, with the Rockapus/Kraken representing Fazbear Entertainment. I came across this theory while watching C's Always Nervous' live stream, and as we were all watching, the true answer to X's hit me like a sack of bricks. Before moving on, I want to give a huge shout out to Clavisky, not only for his fantastic video, but also for giving me permission to talk about it and for our discussions on Discord. Dude was really cool, really cool. She's Always Nervous. We'll get her shout out later. She's an incredible Five Nights at Freddy's theorist, and we'll see more from her in this video. Part 3, the only shelf I was right about. Let's rewind to how I came across this mega theory. I came out with the part 1 of this video. People gave me insights that completely changed my perspective, and I used that to shape this theory by changing my outlook. In The Secret of the Mimic, we're shown two stories, one at the puppet show and one at the bedtime story. Both have a moral. Beating the bad guy and getting the perfect present requires teamwork and cooperation. Now let's look at MCM. While Edwin is paranoid about F10 and 4, she tells him not to trust Fazbear Entertainment and to keep her a secret.
Never forget, they're behind it. Don't trust them. Never tell them. They want to destroy you. Dad was right.
Edwin, you need to listen. I know you are excited, but you can't let them know about me. It's not safe. They wouldn't understand. Keep it between us for now.
She isolates herself, just like Edwin does while searching for her over the radio frequencies. In my previous MXES video, I guessed that the puppet files, including the show, were in the MXES's third drawer. That was the only thing I got right. At least the puppet file part. It turns out the puppet show files are actually in the second drawer's programmings. These puppet files weren't just files that they kept in the MXES, they were lessons. The show was used to teach the Mimic that success requires working with others, counteracting Edwin's antisocial tendencies and emotions felt during this time. The second story, the bedtime story, shows that lashing out in anger drives friends away, teaching M2 after being possessed by rage that anger isn't useful. These stories aren't just moral tales, they're educational guides for the program to learn from. Part 4. .exe. Now we get into MOON.EXE and CRADLE.EXE. These .exe files are executive programs. They take command and override other programs. Because of this, two executive programs cannot run on the same system at the same time. Moon.exe controlled the MXES before Arnold installed CRADLE.EXE. Moon's motives mirror this. Like CRADLE.exe, it keeps the programming asleep. But here's the key difference. Where Moon.exe keeps all three shells asleep, CRADLE.exe replaces Moon in the MXES and gives Fiona control of everything from her drawer. Part 5. Let's have a toxic discussion about emotions. Let's take a step back into Fazbear's Frights for a moment. In the 1:35 a.m. epilogue, Taggart defines emotions, agony, as a toxic cloud that sticks to its surroundings. In Five Nights at Freddy's, when someone feels strong emotion towards something, they get attached to it. For example, David and his birthday toys, his memories and emotions became tied to those objects. Now let's talk about Edwin's emotions. Throughout Secret of the Mimic, we watch Edwin endure traumatic events one after another. His emotions stick to what he interacts with, and the Mimic picks up on them. For instance, when Edwin vents into the radio while searching for Fiona, memory of Fiona inviting him to David's birthday is replayed. Edwin regrets working too much and missing time with his family. After recovering what he believes is Fiona, he isolates himself. His staff hears him talking with Fiona and misunderstands him, thinking he's committing insurance fraud. Edwin becomes a recluse. During this, the mimic absorbs his behavior and his instructions, such as telling him to keep her a secret. This is why the Foxy Puppet Show exists, to teach the mimic to counteract Edwin's isolation, reinforcing teamwork and friendship. Later, when Edwin loses David, his grief and longing are absorbed by the mimic, which drives it to try to rebuild him too. But Edwin's rage at his company's betrayal bubbles over, and when the mimic doesn't obey him, his anger transforms truant, creating a rage-induced M2. This parallels the fourth closet, where Henry's emotions were mirrored in the first four closets. Sadness, love, and other feelings shape the programming inside them. Similarly, M2 learns from the bedtime story that anger doesn't solve anything, adapting its behavior from Edwin's emotions and the narrative. Part 6. Remnant, and Ritos. As I mentioned earlier, M.XESMaker will help answer questions from some of the community's favorite theorists. Let's start with Ritos and She's Always Nervous. Nervous has an amazing video on Remnant.EXE, linked in the description if you haven't seen it yet. Make sure to check it out. Her theory suggests that the Mega Pizzaplex in Five Nights at Freddy's security breach is powered by Remnant, charged from the victims of the Pizzaplex. This has sparked discussion, including Ritos wondering if Remnant.EXE is still canon to the current day, and in doing so, challenged us to show where Edwin had knowledge of Remnant. For context, and this is going to be important, Remnant Nervous points out that the buzzing and humming of energy in the Pizzaplex sounds like children playing, a detail from Escape the Pizzaplex which reinforces her theory. The reason this matters here is that the MXES and the Fiona wires ran throughout the Pizzaplex, powering its attraction. Similarly, in Secret of the Mimic, the glowing orange tubes carried the sound of when Fiona died. Employees could hear her throughout the manor. This is a clear repetition showing Remnant's presence. We'll answer Raito's challenge later during story time. Keep this connection in mind. Also, huge shout out to She's Always Nervous for having great FNAF theories, being a wonderful creator, always engaging with her audience. Super big props. Part 7. Understanding where we're at. Let's pause for a second and get our bearings, because a lot has already happened. So far, we've learned that the MXES stores aren't just shelves of different Mimic programs, they're memory repositories, containers for emotional data and experiences. These drawers store pieces of David, Fiona, and Edwin, their memories, emotions, and agony from the real items that we pick up around the Murray's costume manor in Secret of the Mimic. Toys and items placed inside Moon.EXE aren't random. They're emotionally charged conduits, carrying David's happiest memories, like Jake's doll with Simon and the real Jake. Nexus isn't just a machine. It's a teacher. The puppet files, bedtime stories, moral tales from Secret of the Mimic act as adaptive lessons for the Mimic program, reprogramming it emotionally and counteracting Edwin's antisocial tendencies. Stories about teamwork and friendship guide its behavior, showing empathy, morality, and adaptation by example. The narratives become simulations, emotional exercises that shape the Mimic's personality over time. I want you to think that we actually get a real solid proof of this in the post-it note in Security Breach. They're actively training whoever those post-it notes are for. Privacy Key's theory helps us see how these stories are presented to the mimic, almost like a classroom. Meanwhile, Nervous's Remnant-Plex theory shows that the energy linking all of this, the humming wires, the glowing orange tubes, the cries throughout the manor, the laughter echoing throughout the Pizzaplex, isn't just electricity, it's agony, an emotional current that, when conducted through metal or code, solidifies into remnant. Emotions literally bleed into the system, which turn the Pizzaplex and the manor into giant emotional circuits. In short, MXES stores are emotional archives. Stories and puppet shows adaptive behavioral training for the mimic. Energy throughout the buildings, like the Mega Pizzaplex and the Manor, agony conducted into Remnant, the mimic's evolution driven by emotional lessons, memories, and absorbed agony. All of that brings us to the next big question. If emotions and memories are being stored and conducted through objects, how exactly does the mimic learn from them? And that's what we're going to start with part 8. Part 8. Get it off your chest. If the mimic is being taught by programs and other things that are put into the MXES, how did it learn F10 and 4 and David? To answer that, let's step into the prankster epilogue from Fazbear Frights. Talbert describes Remnant as a solid material that can conduct memories the same way water conducts electricity. Let's remember what Taggart said about agony. It emanates like a toxic cloud and can be measured by electrodermal activity, meaning how well the skin conducts electricity. When agony infects a solid object, that object becomes remnant, carries the emotional charge and memories of the person who produced the agony. Now, why is this important? Because look at what we placed inside of Moon.EXE. Objects from around Murray's costume manor tied to Fiona, Edwin, and David. Next, look at the moon, stars, and snow chests. When we place David's favorite toys into them, we get glitch permission from Sun, who tells us it's all in your hands now. Then we insert the data diver into the mimic, and what happens? It becomes David, grabbing his favorite tiger plush and going to bed. Here's what that means. The mimic, after having David's memories stored within those three chests in the MXES programming, receives that emotional data through the glitch permission and internalizes it. The mimic becomes David, not through story training this time, but through emotional imprinting. It's the same concept as the story lessons, but instead of being guided by morals, it's being guided by the memories of love, attachment, and innocence to these items. Or even, as we'll go over through story time, emotions of sadness, emotions of rage, emotions of betrayal, emotions of regret. Part 9. You have my memories. Big whoop. What are you gonna do? If you couldn't tell by now, each part of this theory has been breaking down a different piece of the puzzle. And if you stayed patient, thank you, because it's going to come together very soon. We've talked about memories being stored and transferred. So now let's ask, where does Fiona come in? Fiona was called the skilled creator, known for her designs like Cowgirl Roxy, Sharpay, Chica, and even the Foxy puppet that she made for David. Now, if you look closely at Moon.EXE, we actually remove a Sharpay plush from a chest that's long and rectangular, strikingly similar to the outside lower chest beneath the MXES. I believe Edwin's bond for Fiona's creative genius was in that Sharpay plush in the chest. When Moon.exe runs, we take those memories out, and then at the end of Moon.exe, we put David's in. So what happens when the mimic is trained by those memories? What does it witness? We can look into the pit for a clue. When Oswald is exposed to agony through the boss pit's plastic, he sees the past in bold and vivid detail. The missing children, the old animatronics, the whole tragic scene. Reality rewrites itself into what he witnesses. almost like a simulation. And we've seen that before, haven't we? A full simulation replaying old memories shown to us as a video game. Part 10, Gibby Horror Homestead's Arcade Theory. Okay, so this is an editor note that is coming in after I wrote the script. So after discussions with people, I found out that there's like multiple versions of Arcade Theory. So I'm going to explain the version I understand, and I may be wrong, but I still think that it's right. If memories can project full environments, like how Moon.EXE's memories form the in-game world of Moon.EXE, then that same principle likely applies across all of FNAF. This brings us to Gibby Horror Homestead's arcade theory. He proposes that the arcade cabinets in the universe are the games we've been playing, like Princess, Balloon World, and Monty Gator Golf. Oh, wait, that's weird. 3 games? 3 chests? Anyways, here's when it gets interesting. When memories are uploaded into the MXES, it seems to use those memories to generate diegetic Fazbear Entertainment products, literal games based off of those experiences. Look at Help Wanted and Princess Quest. In Help Wanted, replay old FNAF locations and end up at a locked door. In Princess Quest, you do the same thing, moving through those old environments until you find a giant keyhole that looks just like the one from Help Wanted. That's not coincidence. Princess Quest is made from the memory of the Help Wanted route, Vanessa's memory remade as a video game. Nexus takes real experiences and turns them into in-universe arcade simulations. So, arcade theory, just like Security Breach said, the arcades are the answer. Part 11, logbooking it. So what if MXES didn't just make games? What if it created other Fazbear products too, like the survival logbook? Inside of the logbook, we get something really strange. A back and forth conversation between Cassidy and another soul woven throughout the pages. And it makes sense why they can't see anything, because a book does not have eyes. MXES used Cassidy's and the crying child's memories to build the logbook. Their consciousness was printed right into the pages, trapped inside a Fazbear product, talking back and forth to each other. Now let's address the Foxy grid. We already know Cassidy appears as one of the names. Here's the kicker. Whether you believe the other name to be Dave or Evan, both of those names have 4 letters. And that is important because it brings us to the next key player in this theory. Oh, David. If you're watching this channel, you probably already know me. Mostly because I never shut up, especially in TD Red's live stream. And look, I'm a huge fan of his work, especially his God David theory. And today I want to prove it in an adverse way. TD Reed's God David theory proposes that Fiona is trying to bring David back, literally transferring his consciousness into children like the crying child in Gregory. He connects this through Balloon World, FNAF World, and the repeating symbolism of the 3 children. So let's circle back to David's toy chest in Moon.EXE. The chest dialogue tells us David bounced the ball along the moon, wrote his name in the stars, and played through the snow with the silent hunter. Let's break that down. What's the ball among the moon? That's his toy ball, the first item that we placed in the chest. Wrote his name in the stars. Set of 5 blocks, each one representing one of the 5 letters, and David, D-A-V-I-D. Played through the snow with the silent hunter, his favorite stuffed animal, the white tiger. When all of these items are placed, we receive the wish permission from Sun, symbolizing David's memories sinking inside of the data diver, moving to mimic his quote-unquote programming. Now, we actually do see the same in FNAF World. When you follow Glitch Fredbear and the Fox, each minigame repeats the same pattern. In the first chest, you put Balloon Boy inside the chest, linking to Cece bouncing with balloons in Balloon World, where Mangle's Quest, where Mangle literally jumps on balloons among a moon. You place 4 cupcakes into a set of blocks that's inside one chest, just like David's 5 blocks, but this time with 4, mirroring the 4 letters of the crying child's name, whether you believe it's Dave or Evan. And finally, you place the plush, completing the game where you're told to rest. There's something fishy. about this plush, and we're going to come back to this plush. Does this sound familiar? It's exactly what happens to David bought at bedtime in Secret of the Mimic. In other words, Crying Child is being trained into MXES through emotional memory reconstruction, changing the software inside of it. In turn, MXES is creating FNAF world. Wait, there's another piece here that we need to talk about. If everything so far connects, the toys, the chess, the memories, then what does Stage 01 have to do with being a game that's made? And why is it broken? And here's the thing. I think the solution to the biggest question in all of FNAF is the answer. Part 13. FNAF 4, The Box, and the Data Diver. When we play FNAF 4, we get mini-games, all connecting to one solid mini-game, reflecting Cece's past, with the Fredbear plush popping up all over the place. There's also another plush here. One is that's very peculiar in its appearance, with the Spring Bunny plush. Spring Bunny plush that belongs to someone else. I think that's very important, that it belongs to someone else. This plush is also a finger trap, trapping the person it belongs to. Let's look at that plush for a second and compare it to the plush that we put into the third shelf of MXES in FNAF World. Now, why is this plush here? And why isn't it the Fredbear plush that Cece put into the third box? Well, let's look at how this plush looks like and what it's telling us in the minigame. It directly tells us that this plush belongs to someone else and is someone else's finger trap. This plush does not belong to the Crying Child. As a matter of fact, nowhere throughout the FNAF 4 minigame did the Crying Child even come close to a Spring Bonnie plush other than this one moment. The Spring Bonnie plush was changed. Whenever Afton, whom I believe is the glitched Fredbear, is trying to lead Cece into the MXES, I believe he changes the item that goes to the last shelf. Instead of using the Crying Child's actual toy, he used the Spring Bonnie plush, one that contained his memories, and we see them over time. I believe this actually ends up being the same Spring Bonnie code that we see in Help Wanted 2. But that, my friends, is a story for another day. Let's talk about what's happening. Afton has to take David's memories out of MXES to put the Crying Child and his own memory inside of it. Just like whenever we see the memories going into FNAF World from the Murray era, such as Gear Rat, the mansions having the red flags and other MCM imagery. So whenever he takes out the memories of David and puts them into Cece, he's transferring Cece into the MXES, while the David persona is defeated in FNAF World and then dies in Cece. You want more evidence? Let's look at MOON.EXE in the Baby L. Commonly understood as the representation of David. Then it dies and is rebuilt into the Mimic at the end. What do we fight at the end of FNAF World? Metal Owl named Security. Cece is defeating the MXES Security, so that when we play again and do the clocks ending, we can replace the memories, much like we had to do to defeat Moon in Moon.exe. Apologize. Let's look back to the mini game of FNAF 4. We see Afton inside of stuffing suits. We see the Fredbear plush that Afton is speaking to throughout the game. I believe this minigame in FNAF 4 is the game that's created when we put the Spring Bonnie plush with Cece's memories into the 3 shelves of MXES. But still, what's up with Stage 01? If the 3 FNAF 3 games are meant to be Cece's memories that he put into MXES and FNAF World, what's up with it? Well, let's look at it. It's broken. What does it have? It has that glitch on it. What stands out about Glitch Bonnie's appearance? Let's match it up to the Spring Bonnie plush from the FNAF 4 minigames and the plush that Cece puts into the third shelf. It's the same. Glitch wasn't supposed to be here. It was from after. In the FNAF 4 that minigame that shelf made, part of it's missing. They're all that's left. The Stage 01 part. Wonder if there's anything else in FNAF 4 that can help tell us what happened. I mean, chests and gifts are often associated with the MXES shelves in this theory. I wonder if there's a four-dimensional shape, maybe like a box? Before I get into that, I want to talk about the data diver from Secret of the Mimic, and I want to go over our introduction Dispatch gives us once we get inside.
Now that you're there, and it would be very difficult for you to turn back, I should probably level with you a little. We're still detecting movement in the building that you're in, and we have a little bit of an idea as to what it might be. Old Murray made some neat stuff over the years, and unfortunately, it seems that one of his most creative inventions may have encountered some homicidal glitches in its programming. Now, these things happen, and I'm sure it's nothing to worry about, but you should probably worry about it. He was working on an endoskeleton that can adapt to any costume or character, large or small, with the ability to take on the persona of the character it occupies. With the addition of the aforementioned homicidal tendencies, of course. We'll be working on some ideas on how to neutralize this rogue endoskeleton, but in the meantime, just try to be quiet, careful, and focused on the task at hand. Always being mindful of the fact that this entity could potentially be inside any costume or character that you see.
When we're inside and speaking with Dispatch, it goes out of its way to emphasize the importance of upgrading the data diver at every station and that this task is absolute.
It's very important that you update the data diver whenever you find an access station. This is not optional.
It also references to the technology that Fazint has to recover, referring to it as the entity, and even getting a set of quotation marks in the captions as well. This is a reference to the MXES entity in Ruin. The technology isn't just the mimic, it's the MXES. And what do we do with the data diver when we play Moon.EXE? We use it to insert the agony possessed items into MCM. I spoke a line earlier about how Sun said, "It's all in your hands now." It's literally in your hand. The program with David's memories of his toys is literally in your hands. The data diver, which lines up because it's the data diver's glitch permissions that changes the programming of the mimic. Now let's look at the data diver as a whole. It's this box with this poke attachment. It's sought after by F10 and 4 after CRADLE.EXE was put into it. I'd like to theorize that the data diver is the hardware program that goes into the third shelf of the MXES, in turn bringing David back. The data diver is the physical hardware containing the program that goes into the shelf. Why bring this up? Where does it come from? Let's break it down. The FNAF 4 minigame is made by CC putting the Spring Bonnie plush into the third drawer. This makes the FNAF 4 minigames we see as we play it. The items we put into MXES and FNAF World are games that are also reflected in FNAF 3. CC bounced along balloons and Mangle Quest. We delivered cupcakes where they needed to go and Chica Party. Then we have the broken glitch stage 01 with the glitch Bonnie inside of it, not the FNAF 4 mood game. Why? Because the third shelf containing the FNAF 4 minigame has been removed from the MXES. And where did it go? Well, let's take a look at the FNAF 4 box. This sleek rectangular box with the perfect size to hold something. The data diver without its prong. I speculate that after removing the third shelf with the FNAF 4 minigame, with the depictions of him in the Fredbear plush out of the drawer entirely, leaving just the agony of the glitch Bonnie that CC put inside during FNAF 4. How do we know it's the data diver? What did we put into the data diver at the end of Secret of the Mimic? David's memories. What was taken out in FNAF World? David's memories. This traps the FNAF 4 minigames inside of the box, which we see it again. We are inside of the box, Raiders of the Lost Ark style. The minigames that are made up by the box are CC's memories making a video game, and that video game being hidden away. As to the motive of this, I strongly feel along the lines that Afton didn't want his memories in the game and things that may implicate him in anything or make people look deeper. So he removed the fourth drawer and just started killing in the Spring Bonnie suit so that the victim's memories wouldn't remake his actual face, instead of the yellow rabbit. Again, looking through the fourth closet, we can see this actually occur. As the kids see Afton as the yellow rabbit in their memories, well, Carlton sees Afton for who he is. Carlton points out they see him as Bonnie. This way, the video games that come after just show a yellow rabbit, not Afton. This also happens when the yellow rabbit is seen as the yellow creature and into the pit. This part is just really strong speculation with supporting evidence. I'm not 100% sure on this last. Part 13, The Storyteller. Well, where does this leave us? First season Brucettes, I'd like to read to you a video game inside of a video game. I'm going to be MXES making it, and it's my turn to be the storyteller. Enter late 1960s, Fiona. She stands in her room, eyes on the emblem of her first creation, Cowgirl Roxy's hat. She's proud of it, and rightfully so. Everyone loves Roxy. On her desk lies a stack of practice notes, all rehearsing how she'll finally ask Edwin Murray himself for help project to bring back the sun. Over the years, she's grown quite smitten with him. Working at Murray's Costume Manor was her goal in the first place, but now that she's there, heart full of ambition, she has a dangerous kind of love. She turns towards her closet. Up on a top shelf, the grand prize, the symbol of everything she's reaching for now. Edwin's success, his empire, his affection. Because Fiona has ulterior motives, motives that aren't entirely her own. You see, while she ran her lace factory, Fazbear Entertainment pulled the same cool stunt on her that they'd later pull on Edwin, taking everything, leaving her with only her hope. They backed her into a corner, leaving her trapped, manipulated her into working for them, this time as an infiltrator, fit into Murray's Costume Manor. Unaware that her fate would twist the day, Edwin asks her for her help with voice acting.
Excuse me, can I borrow your voice for a project?
Oh, what for? I don't even know you. I'm brand new here. Let's start again. I'm Fiona, and you are?
Edwin Murray. This is my dad's place. But that doesn't matter. I heard you were a puppeteer, and I wanted to record your voice.
Oh, well, yes, I used to be.
When she wins Edwin's heart, receiving the grand prize, the being in the closet furthers the plan, gifting her a hedgehog Halloween mask. It's her own design for Fall Fest, but it's also the first mask that connects her to something greater, something she can't yet see. Next, we move into the next room. There's a toy chest, elongated like the left side of the MXES shelf. We take the Sharpay plush filled with Fiona's memories out of it, and when we do, a key appears. The first shelf in the MXES is now empty. She's allowed to leave the house, to escape her confines, and time can move on. Outside, she's greeted by a scary tree. In its branches, a nest, an egg. It holds something she needs. Chica's party world. She takes the designs, and we begin to travel down a time-brick road. This road isn't just scenery, it's the timeline. Each step forward, a moment further in time. Fiona and Edwin grow close. Out of that love, she creates her first star-bright nightlight, the one representing the youngest, the baby with the pacifier in its mouth. The dark red Valentine's full heart, star-bright. We're met with a cave, but this cave isn't meant for us, as Moon resides within. But there's other trouble up ahead. Edwin's father disapproves. The tree in the background trembles, representing Edwin's worry of his father's disapproval. Yet Fiona's love burns strong. It burns with her passion. And that burning love drives her to something desperate. She brews an odd-smelling soup, one that dies if you eat it. MEGATheory. Amidst Edwin Sr.'s disapproval keeping them from having a family, she feeds it to Edwin's father. When she does, the knife appears in the tree. The baby owl finally freed from its grasp, the family now having a chance to be made. However, Edwin grieved his father. Before David was born, now that a senior is out of the picture, Edwin mourns and his father now gone. Fiona comforts him, gently removing the pain and helping him move forward. Through this, she learns something intriguing. Edwin Sr. worked for the military. He takes this information back to the scary tree and trades it for a walking stick. She'll never use that walking stick while alive, however. Time moves on. They marry, then fall fast. Day Fiona dies. A burned statue marks her death. We take Edwin's signature bow tie, the symbol of him stepping into focus, his bow tie containing his emotional attachment to his signature style. We are now Edwin. We are now off the main path of time into a similar timeline, the time of loss. We travel the time-bricked road David plays near a muddy lake, fishing with Monty's fishing game. He used to always play with it by the lake. The lake looks muddy, like it's being stirred by something. But it's gross. It's thick. There's a boulder next to it, shiny and wet, beautiful on the outside, but underneath is dark, disgusting, like worms writhing in mud. This isn't random. This is agony. The lake conducts energy to a boulder, and that's where Edwin realizes what he's found. Right, so there's your answer. You want to know how Edwin found out about agony? He found it in the lake after seeing it conduct to a surface along the lake. The dark, wormy imagery is also repeated in Fazbear Frights, with Eleanor's imagery after she's been injected with too much Remnant. Time passes. Edwin finds Fiona's seamstress kit. The remnant of her lace factory burned and blacked. It teaches him what agony can do, like how Henry thought that he found Charlie again through Ella. Edwin starts to believe the same of Fiona. He isolates himself from the world, except for David. He pours everything into caring for his son, trying to correct his regrets of Fiona passing. Then, while one day scanning for radio frequencies, he hears Fiona's voice. Not her now, her then. A memory, a fragment, a whisper soaked in agony. Her lace factory echoes through the frequencies. The mannequins weep. You can hear the agony. Remnant flags. F10 and 4, Fiona's consciousness, her echo of Edwin's memories, begins to reappear. Now armed with Fiona's memories, she brings back the scary tree's walking stick, the one that Fiona never used while alive. Together, she and Edwin bring back the sun, while Edwin works for Fazbear Entertainment. We see this represented when Edwin gives the swing bee honey, the creation, to the bear. Interlude. Now, before we move on, I want to flesh out the opinion of F10 and 4 working with Fazbear Entertainment. For this interlude, we go to Immortal and the Restless, versus the sun is well in the sky, and Clara is talking with Vlad, telling him important information about the baby.
Count, I tell you that it is. You're the only vampire I've ever loved. And the baby turns his bottles into powdered milk.
That doesn't mean anything.
He sleeps on the ceiling fan.
Upright or upside down?
What does it matter? You need to be part of your son's life.
I'm an old man, Clara. I can't be a father.
Well, then at least pay your child.
Telling him it's his. He's referring back to the proverbial walking stick taken off the scary tree in MOON.EXE, telling him it's part of the mimic. Let's look at the background here. This wall, do these bricks look familiar? They're like the time brick road in MOON.EXE. Time is passing in real life here. And we see that through the episodes as the next episode begins with the sun setting. This is the fall of Sun and David's death, leading to the destruction of MCM, where Edwin needs money. Clara, the Restless, F10 and 4, reaches the Fazzy and T to take responsibility over the baby, the mimic, the work they've done, telling them that the program is working, trying to do whatever she can in an attempt to collect child support and funding. At the same time, feeding off Edwin's worry of them losing the home. Time passes again, and Moon is out. Moon 2 is now made. F10 and 4, like telling Edwin they need to stop it, tells Fazzy and T the same thing, telling them it's killing people, in which they deny responsibility and say it's something that the mimic gets from her side of the family, which is true. If F10 and 4 is Sun, and Moon is Edwin, Edwin's rage is what's powering the M2.
The baby isn't mine.
He ate the cat.
Sounds like something he got from your side of the family.
Her side of the family. It tells him that she's put a plan into action, and that she's turned the thermostat up. They ignore it still until the house, which is now taken by Fazzy and T from Edwin, is burned down. What happens at the end of The Secret of the Mimic?
I set the thermostat to 90 before I left.
Good, I like it warm.
Good, because I also set the house on fire.
How will it all end? The passion, the tension.
Time passes again, and Fazzy and T, represented by the scary tree in the beginning of this episode, is now here. In burning down the house, Vlad points out that Clara is truly heartless. This is true because F10 and 4 do not have a heart. She tells him that it was like a morgue in there, which is true with all the dead bodies that we had from Secret of the Mimic inside of the mammoth.
Burn down my house?
You call that a house? It was like a morgue in there.
I may be undead, but you're heartless.
You need to see your son.
The baby isn't mine.
He ate the cat.
Sounds like something he got from your side of the family.
Well, how's this?
And then the rest of Immortal and Restless remains a story on the next page for a different day. To get back into the story, our MOON.EXE avatar, Edwin, and F10 and 4 has made the Mimic endoskeleton. And so from there, our story continues. Paranoia infects them both. Edwin's emotions bleed into M1, and M1 mirrors his fear. Keep me a secret. But this doesn't stay the case for long. As they're working with Edwin and finishing up his contracts, they allow Fazzy and T to see, giving them knowledge of Edwin's creation. During this time, Fiona learns to prioritize work over morality, just as Edwin once did. Edwin contracting with Fazzy and T, symbolized by putting Edwin's bow tie on the broken Freddy mask. And then comes the Foxy Puppet Show, a lesson written into Mimic code. Working together earns the greatest gift of all, friendship. Asbury finally sees the Mimic. Edwin receives his award, the baby owl mask. His son calls it a sacrifice, because intending to David more, Edwin falls behind at work. And on David's 5th birthday, the Mimic is sent to retrieve him from the playground. This is the last time David is ever seen alive.
This is great. He's gonna love it. Fiona, did you make this?
I baked it myself for David's special day.
Well, great job. You just continue to surprise me. All right, I think we're ready. Okay, everyone hide. Fiona, go get him. I left him out at the playground.
If 10 and 4 kills him, and she lies about it, seeing David as a distraction from work after all, while achieving our goals in Moon.EXE, we're constantly stopping to interact with the baby owl. Edwin is shattered. He grieves, and his grief infects the Mimic. Work halts, and the only thing that matters is to bring him back, no matter the cost, even if it means showing Edwin the truth. Son tells him to look to the past to find out how to bring David back. But in doing so, Edwin discovers that Fiona killed his father. That truth breaks him, sending him to where Moon.EXE will be made. His time in a cave of darkness, where he will make what's resided in the cave until now, Moon.EXE. He's drowning in depression, surrounded by the remains of his machines, his cleanovats, his greatest successes and failures. Touching the walls, blink sounds again. Remnant-like echoes. Agony, once again. Remnant. He builds program after program, tries host for host, trying to recreate David. It never works. He builds the elephant, Jackie, Bub, and more, but nothing brings David back. This leads us to his desperation. He destroys the Mimic violently, destroying the pent-up containment of his grief, letting it out to get the first part of M2, because while destroying it, he finds the next part to his emotional puzzle. Something tucked away in a dark space of the program. He continues on and he finds the Foxy Puppet program in the show's files. Confused, he dives even deeper into the code. He's furious. Someone hid it, and not just someone, the one who pointed him to it in the help as Sun. No one realizes the truth, and that ultimate truth is that Sun has been working with Fazzy and T the entire time. The proverbial walking stick was F10 and 4 getting help to train the mimic from Fazzy and T. This truth enrages him even further. He becomes the memory that possesses the second shelf of the MXES from MOON.EXE. And we take it out, another piece of the whole into. We find something there, something that can be useful. It will eventually turn out to be a monkey's paw, a fragment of code, a net that he can trap the program with by using something from the pirate Foxy's puppet lessons. He channels his fury into one final act, creating .moon.exe. But I mean to say dot twice. A failsafe, a trap, a program to put the M1 program to sleep forever, never again to adapt, update, or evolve. He used this net to trap the program, using it on the head that's soaking in agony, mirroring the lake before putting it back together, not realizing that the amounts of his agony, his own lake, was poured into it. He reassembles the mimic. Grief, his rage, his frustration from the ultimate betrayal collide. Too many sources of suffering. The result? A blast, a backfire, an explosion that blinds out the rest of his life. And from it, the M2 program is now born. Moon, representing Moon.exe, and Edwin's emotional turmoil. The mimic cannot adapt. It cannot change. Moon.exe has backfired. Fiona from the mimic has the new executive function. All of its adaptive programming sleeps. It's stuck with the only thing it's now received. Edwin's emotions, the pieces that led to its creation. His grief, his rage, and the Moon.exe program.
Test. Journal entry. Too bad the new power test was a failure. Due to a minor detonation, there is damage to my office interior, as well as a small fire. Note to self, portable cleaner that gets rid of smoke damage. Or better yet, a Cleanovac attachment. No! Engine! Response! Emergency! Code for help! Daddy's busy, buddy. Why don't you go outside and play? Please! I can't move. You can't feel my legs. You know, speaking of legs, what do you think? I just finished mine. There are still a few kinks to work out. I'm sorry, M2. I lost my temper. I was always gonna fix you. Please.
We see this as the mimic ignores the request from Edwin, replying with Edwin's regret of missing out with his family. Edwin's replies to David having put itself back together, such as Edwin's drive after David's death, and ultimately devolving into Edwin's third emotion, rage, becoming the mimic that we see in Secret of the Mimic. Now we jump ahead to the MXES's perception of now. We see Arnold just arriving at the Murray's Costume Manor. Hippo and Alligator stand to the right, the room dark and red. Helper gives him the ticket book, mirroring the start of the game where Arnold receives his ticket at the window. He faces Jackie, and just like in Moon.exe, she gets trapped, not to be seen again after she falls into the vent, getting sucked into the boot, which leads to Arnold waking up in dispatch. In Moon.exe, Arnold receives a birthday present, David's blocks. Then, the Big Top boss fight. When we move in reverse through David's birthdays, when Big Top is defeated, he mourns Fiona's loss. Arnold gets another gift, David's ball, from his second birthday. Then comes Nurse Dolly. The duck and elephant symbolism I don't really understand yet, but once she's defeated, Arnold moves forward to Carl in the admin wing. Next, he faces Chica and gets David's white tiger plush, his first and favorite present. This marks the start of New Game Plus. Arnold in F10 and 4 activate CRADLE.EXE. handing control of the executive program to F10 and 4. She overrides Sleepy Time Moon, the foundation of Moon.EXE, and now that that program's deactivated, she is now in control of MXES. Arnold places David's toys into the chest. He upgrades the data dagger with David's favorite toys he found around the manor. All the memories he's gathered swirl together, showing things of the memories over time. As Fiona tells us, it's all in our hands now. Arnold puts those memories into M2, and then the cradle takes over. F10 and 4 puts the mimic to sleep. Finale, MXESMaker. I don't think it's not possible for MXES to remake games from memory escapes, because Edwin tells us directly that it can.
I'm talking about broken midway games, costumes, computer and television parts, vacuum cleaners, toasters, and precious metals. Those useless things are then used to create new midway games, costumes, and technologies for your family fun center at a discounted price.
When he talks about recycling, he doesn't just mean repurposing old junk. He says they take old midway games and make new ones. That is him telling us, matter-of-factly, that the MXES can recycle old data, old memories, old experiences, and remake them as new creations. And that, Brucey's and Brucettes, is the core of what I call MXESMaker. My theory that when agony is placed inside of MXES, it doesn't just stay there, it feeds on it. It trains off of it. It recycles those memories, reshaping them into the media we find throughout the Five Nights at Freddy's universe. Video games, logbooks, training tapes, even the novels themselves. Popular theories like games fiction and books fiction being true, except those creations are more than just fiction. They're vessels, each one haunted by emotional signatures of the people that they came from, each one being that almost real echo of who they once were. The shelves of MXES aren't shelves at all. They're removable storages, data divers, each one running a unique program inside of the system, based off the emotions and memories contained within. In Moon.EXE, we upload David's memories, and the baby owl becomes the mimic transformed into a metal owl. In FNAF World, Crying Child battles that same metal owl, guided towards placing his own memories into the MXES, while David's memories are being removed, removing the removal of his own motions like the Sharpay flesh and the moon chest that birth Sun and Moon. But there's a nefarious plot in play. Afton swaps the items CC uses to put his memories into MXES, and instead of using the Fredbear plush, he uses a glitch, replacing the Fredbear plush with a Spring Bonnie code, influencing the Crying Child to corrupt the third shelf with someone else's memory. That shelf spawns the FNAF 4 minigames. When Afton discovers this, he removes the third shelf and locks it in the FNAF 4 box and buries the evidence. What's left inside MXES? Only the fragments. Stage 01. Stage 01. And have you noticed, Stage 01 is in the FNAF 4 minigames, but its single repeating room matches only one place in that game, because Stage 01 is all that remains, fused with the agony of Glitch Bonnie, and the glitch permissions the Spring Bonnie plush Crying Child placed into the third chest in FNAF 4. The rest of the game was removed, data diver taken out, and buried into the box. Moon.exe fills in the mixing pages of the secret of the Mimic story, including how Fiona was a plant sent against Murray's costume manor from the very start, turning and falling in love with Edwin. And here's where it all comes together. Because Remnant, Plex, Fake Fiona, Arcade Theory, God David, and Friendship Theory, they're all true. And they've been true this whole time. And all of them fit inside of this framework. Because this theory doesn't override them or erase them, it binds them. It gives them a structure to where they can flow together so that these things that these theorists are finding work together. Because where one theorist can find one piece of information and another theorist can find another, we assume they contradict sometimes, but in actuality, they're working together. Games fiction and books fiction, they're not random out of universe media. They're in universe artifacts. books and games made inside the world of Five Nights at Freddy's, but based on real memories, real agony, real events inside of the same universe. That's why the novels contradict the games while still being called canon even on their covers. They're not eyewitness one-to-one accounts. They're recreations of agony scapes fed to the MXES. They're the memories trying to tell their story again through recycled data. Let's take Tales of the Pizzaplex, the story The Mimic, for example. In that version of The Mimic, Fiona dies from childbirth complications. But in The Secret of the Mimic, we find written thoughts, variations of the story, including where Fiona died of complications while expecting. Those scribbled fragments fed into MXES. The system adapted. And from that, it created a new story, The Mimic in M.X.E., a version where Fiona dies due to complications at childbirth. That's how the MXES remembers. That's how the MXES makes. And that's how the past becomes myth, and the myth becomes the story we're all being told. Thank you guys so much for turning into this Whopper of a theory. Seriously, from everyone who's commented, debated, connected the dots, watched this video, helped me get here, even from day one. Thank you. If you like this video, please subscribe for more. Leave a like and comment your thoughts below. Now, I know it's weird to say this, but I really mean it. Please share this video wherever you can. Let's get it out there. Let's get it seen, because I really believe that MXESMaker is the key that ties everything together. And I think once other people see that, they'll understand too. Remember how I said I'm the storyteller today? We're not through here, because this theory is made by the MXES shelves themselves. And we have one more drawer to finish up with. Next time, in the ocean. And all of this, it lines up. These creations of MXES, they give us the answer to something everyone has been wondering about for as long as Afton first got springlocked. Is Afton truly immortal? Until next time, keep floating in the ocean.